Hey YouTube, Splatter Trigger here, and today we're going to be going over my Nintendo GameCube import and domestic titles that I have for my Nintendo GameCube, my little collection here. And this is the system that I supported just a little bit more so than the Xbox, so I don't have too many titles here. But there are and a couple of them I did get rid of that I probably am going to eventually get back to, try to reclaim and whatnot. But first off, I just want to show you off is the GameCube, and the reason I'm showing this off to you is because, as you can see here, this is the Game Boy Advance player that attaches to the bottom. But most importantly, the reason why I'm showing this off is because this was a toggle switch GameCube, and I forget which side is up, but it was up or down. And basically, like up, you can play North American releases. Down, you can play, I know Japanese, I know it played imports. I don't know if it worked for PAL version or not, but I know I played my Japanese imports, and this is how I played them. This GameCube, I actually, they used to sell on PlayAsia and NCSX.com back in the day. I actually never got it off the website. I had a friend of mine who got this, and I traded him straight up after he was tired of the system, my regular GameCube for this GameCube. So pretty sweet deal. So, and this is, start off here, this is the Game Boy Advance startup boot up disc or whatever to play your Game Boy Advance games on the cube. Got a Resident Evil 4 promo disc here. I have a couple of these downstairs, but this was the only one that I found so far. So I just want to show that. I'll get into the games here. For the domestic titles, I have Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. I really loved the remake on this version. I thought it was very well done in the vein of Metal Gear Solid 2. And I was really taken by it, so I enjoyed it a lot. Mega Man Anniversary Collection, which, what was it, 10 Mega Man 1 through 8 and 2 other ones. I can't remember which ones they are off the top of my head. It's been so long, but, so, Mega Man Anniversary Collection. This is a player's choice version, but this is Pac-Man Verse and Pac-Man World 2. Now, the reason I have this is because years ago, Friday nights and whatnot, my cousins would come over, my aunt and uncle, and we'd all get together as a family and play Pac-Man Verse with the Game Boy Advance. So it was pretty fun, and you know, it's the only real reason I have this in my collection, because it's got a lot of nostalgic, even though it wasn't too long ago, feel for me. But next up is one of my favorite RPGs on the system is Tales of Symphonia. And this is the original pressing. I actually have the art book downstairs, which is pretty neat. I don't know how many of you guys actually have that, but the art book is really, really nice to have. That's the first pressing, Tales of Symphonia. Next up is, as you saw in my recent pickup vids, vid 3 is Bait and Kaitos #1. And I recently acquired at FYE. I went there and picked up brand new Bait and Kaitos Origins on, I think it was Goemon7719 who told me to snag this. And don't pay attention to this price tag, because the GameCube games there were 50% off. This is $19.99 now. And then another 75% off that price. So I got this for, with 10% on top of that, I got this for $2.25. So a brand new game for $2.25, you can't go wrong. Once again, the hated player's choice, but it's a Sonic Mega Collection. At the time when I grabbed this, all the original pressings were hard to find. Now you can find them traded in, no problem, but back then it was hard to come by. F-Zero GX, one of my favorite racing games of all time. I had a lot of fun with this game. Star Fox Assault. It was since the 64 release, this was the first one that I actually enjoyed since then. I never ended up finishing it, but I had a lot of fun with it. Next up would be Metroid Prime. Not a big, as most of you know, I'm not a big first-person shooter fan, but I did enjoy this game. I didn't ever play number 2 or 3, but I had to try it out when I tried this with Metroid, and I wasn't too disappointed, to be honest with you. Fun party game, WarioWare, but had a lot of fun with this. So this was the Thursday night game. A lot of us, my group of friends and I would toss in and play. Usually every Thursday night was our game night, so that's one game we threw in the mix back in the day. Next up is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I love the 4-player aspect of this. I really enjoyed this game. I've never played any more of the Crystal Chronicles since this title has come out. Next up was to me was a groundbreaking title for its time, and from what I've heard, the franchise really hasn't taken off as late. But it's Beautiful Joe, excuse me, and I love this when it came out. I was thoroughly engrossed in this game. Most of you have probably heard it by now and played it, but unfortunately, the sequel number 2 here to me did not live up to my expectations. But I had a lot of fun with it regardless. Next up is a very interesting title to me for being retro and whatnot. But this game is called Space Raiders, and this is made by the people who made Space Invaders. I forget the company. Was it Tato? But it's done as in the third person shooter or whatever. And you can only move left or right, not up and down, kind of like the original Space Invaders. But you're, a human being a cop. You can choose from 3 different players, cops, I think they were. And I really enjoyed this title. It's very hard. You can actually find this at GameStop used for $3.99, and I highly suggest if you find this to pick it up, because it came out as a budget title here in the States. I first played this as an import, and I fell in love with it. So I was really happy back in the day when they brought this to the States. Next up is a beautiful treasure game, Wario World. I'm sure most of you own a cube have played this. It's very, very enjoyable. But Wario World, another title that I'm sure a lot of you had. I didn't really get into it. I enjoyed the concept of it, but it was just very time consuming. The Animal Crossing. This game will eat your life away if you get too into it. Next up is the pre-order Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time Master Quest. This is the pre-order for Wind Waker. Sorry. And I almost never opened this. I was going to keep it sealed. But I could not help but play the Master Quest. I could not help myself. I love Ocarina of Time, and just to finally get the Master Quest here stateside. I think it was originally released in Japan on the N64 disc drive. But I had a lot of fun with this. Next up would be the promotional disc of the Zelda's Collector's Edition. Now this I actually still kept sealed, if you can tell. I think this one came out as a pack-in with the Gamecube later on, and the only way you can get it is if you bought a brand new Gamecube, or if it was traded in. I think it was going for $50 or $60 traded in used at GameStop years ago. And the only other way that I knew of back then to get it was to get a Nintendo Power subscription. And when I resubscribed to Nintendo Power for 1 year just to get my hands on this. The glare's not too bad. But yeah, this will never be opened. This is something I'm going to keep sealed. Finally, the last title, domestic title that I have here is Wind Waker. Really enjoyed how they went with the cel-shaded look. At first I was on the fence, but when I picked up the title, I loved it. It can get a little tedious with all the, going over the ocean, but whatever. It was fun to me. I liked it a lot better than Majora's Mask, I'll tell you that much. Next up, I'll start off with the import titles. And as you can see with my import titles here, this is Legend of Zelda, domestic. This is Wind Waker. This is the import Wind Waker. You can see the difference in size and packaging. Next one up is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I love how the Japanese made such a smaller system releasing their games. The next 3 are all part of a 4-volume set. I only have volumes 2, 3, and 4. What Hudson Soft did was re-release in Japan a couple of their titles as budget titles for the PS2 import and for the Gamecube. I got the Gamecube ones, and some of them are pretty interesting. They were actually modernized remakes. As far as I know, they never came stateside, but I could be wrong because, like I said, I was out of gaming for some time there. But the first up is a remake of Star Soldier, which was very interesting. This is one of my favorite versions. If you can get your hands on this, I highly suggest it if you're a fan of shmups. Volume 3 for all you TurboGrafx fans out there is Bonk's Adventure PC Engine. And Volume 4 for all you classic Nintendo fans is Adventure Island. These were very well done. I really enjoyed how they did this. My last import title here, I see I forgot 2 more over there, but is Shikigami no Shiro 2, which is came stateside, and the PS2 is Castle Shikigami 2. This is a shmup. This is the collector's edition, And what came with this box was the original game and the PVC cat figurine of this character, which I forget his name, but that was the promo with it. And the last two titles that I forgot to show over here are Legend of Zelda: The Four Swords. This came with the game and the Game Boy Advance link cables inside this box with the game. And finally is a sealed, I can't remember where I got this. I think I only paid a couple of dollars for it. But it's this, the Robotech Battle Cry. I think there's a shirt, concept art, numbered dog tag. I don't know. I never had an interest in this. I think a buddy of mine, when their EB was closing, got a hold of it. And it was like a couple of dollars or anything. But hopefully you guys enjoyed what you saw. And that was my GameCube collection. And there are a couple titles which I will be reclaiming, namely Ikaruga, and I'd like to find the Volume 1 on the Hudson re-release, which was Lode Runner. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Take care.